Hello and welcome to the Plus Plus podcast from Palantir.net, where we talk about what's new and interesting in the world of open source technologies and agile methodologies. I'm your host, George DeMet, the founder and co-CEO of Palantir.net. Today we're here to talk about DrupalCon Pittsburgh, which is coming up June 5th through 8th. For the uninitiated, DrupalCon is an event that brings together people who use, develop, design, and support the Drupal open source content management platform. There are sessions, keynotes, and opportunities for learning, networking, and socializing. It's a really fun time. Today we've gathered together a number of folks on the Palantir team who are going to be speaking at DrupalCon Pittsburgh. We're going to hear what they're going to be talking about, what they're looking forward to, and some tips and tricks for new attendees. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with introductions. I'm going to start with Britany Acre. Britany, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how many DrupalCons you've attended?
I am Britany Acre, and I am Palantir.net's Senior Client Success Manager. I deal with client relationships, I do a little bit of sales, all that stuff, supporting the team also in those endeavors. Let me think very hard. This will be my second DrupalCon. Last year was an absolute blast. I met a llama, so who knows what what surprises this one holds.
Thank you. And then we have Travis Porchia. Travis, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Travis Porchia, front-end web developer here at Palantir.net. So Drupal site building and theming. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary, so woot woot to that. This is my first DrupalCon, so I'm very, very excited to see all the things, all the llamas, meet. Actually, this will be the first time I'm actually meeting a lot of my lovely coworkers in person. So there'll be a lot of time chatting it up and gauging who's taller than me or not. So definitely a great time. Very, very excited.
Thanks, Travis. I can't guarantee there will be a llama at Pittsburgh because I think that might have just been a Portland thing, but you never know. I do hear that the llama does travel. So next up, we have Ju Vanderwater. Ju, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ju Vanderwater. I'm a senior front-end developer here at Palantir.net, and I also serve in the role of a product owner for a few of our clients. And this will be my 4th DrupalCon, but first US DrupalCon since Washington, D.C., which was in 2009. That was a long time ago. So I'm super excited, but this is the first time I am attending as a speaker-ish. So that's really awesome. Yeah, but I will be taking my own advice that I would give other people here during this DrupalCon is just to pace my energy, rest if I need to, not feel pressure to attend every social event, and maybe go out and get to know a smaller group of people instead, which is good for people like me who are introverts. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ju. Yeah, I remember DC, and yeah, it was a while ago, but that was a fun event. And I'll say as DrupalCons have gotten a little bit bigger since then. So yeah, that's some good advice about finding your own a little quiet space. Tiffany Farriss, you want to go up next?
Sure. So I'm Tiffany Farriss. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Palantir. I'm also the longest serving director of the board of the Drupal Association, other than Breeze, of course. And so I'll be wearing both of those hats while I'm in Pittsburgh. So this will be my 25th DrupalCon. I've been to 11 in North America, 11 in Europe, and of course there were the 2 online. So this will be 25 for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany. Is there anything in particular looking forward to about Pittsburgh?
So as someone who is Rust Belt born and bred, I am totally looking forward to some comfort food. I think I'm definitely going to have a Pittsburgh salad. Not sure I'm going to go all the way for permanis, but I certainly wouldn't object to some pierogies.
Awesome, Tiffany. Thank you. Joe Meersman, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Joe Meersman, technical architect at Palantir.net. I play the role of a product owner on the continuous delivery portfolio team. I've been working in Drupal for over a decade, and I'm coming up on 4 years at Palantir. I have been to 3 DrupalCons so far, so not a vet, but not a novice really either. And I'm really taking a page from Travis's book. I'm excited to see people. I have not seen a lot of my coworkers in person, and there are definitely a handful of folks that will be at DrupalCon this year that I haven't seen in several years. So I'm excited to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. Jill Farley, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Jill Farley. I have been a senior digital strategist at Palantir.net for almost 5 years. I currently spend much of my time in the continuous delivery service line along with Joe and Ju. And I've actually been in the Drupal space for about 8 or 9 years. And this is my first DrupalCon. So what? I'm a strategy practitioner, and I also do a lot of agile team coaching and individual coaching within our organization. I kind of say I always bring the 10,000 foot view to whatever team or project that I'm working on. So as far as what I'm looking forward to at this DrupalCon, I'm just going to keep repeating it. I'm so excited to see my colleagues in person, and many, many of them for the first time, even though I've been at Palantir for 5 years. I'm a total extrovert, and I really get my energy from connecting and learning from people. So this environment is my jam. I have been waiting patiently for this for a few years. And very selfishly, I have 2 small kids, and I'm really looking forward to maybe sleeping in a little bit for 5 days. So that's me.
Thanks, Jill. I actually haven't had a lot of luck sleeping in at DrupalCon, but good luck. Next up, Ken Rickard, we have you.
Yeah, I suppose you do. I'm Ken Rickard. I'm the Senior Director of Consulting here at Palantir, and I'll just throw you a bunch of numbers. This week actually marks my 15th year at Palantir. I've been working on Drupal since 2005. That's, for those of you who know, that's Drupal 4.5. Which is a long, long time ago, and this will officially be my 29th DrupalCon. So there's that. I am excited to get back. I haven't been to a DrupalCon in person since 2019, just like many people. And apparently half of our inquiries at the booth last year were, "Where's Ken?" That's all I heard when people got back. So I will be there. Hanging out.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, there were a lot of people who came by our booth last year looking for you in Portland. So I know that will be a very special treat for many to have you at Pittsburgh. So that brings us to me, George DeMet, founder and co-CEO of Palantir. I do a lot of different things here at Palantir, one of which is apparently now moonlighting as a podcast host. So Ken, I think I've been to one less DrupalCon than you. My current count is 28, going all the way back to Sunnyvale in 2007.
So George and I actually met in Sunnyvale. It was the first time.
That's right. Yeah.
Ju and I met at DrupalCon also. I'm just trying to remember which one it was. It might have been Barcelona the first time, but I don't quite remember.
No, it was longer than that. I think it was DC or Hungary.
It could have been, then it would have been Szeged. It would have been
Szeged. Yep.
Well, that was a fun one.
That's where I met you.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Szeged, Hungary, the tiny little university town that took a very long train to get to, but it was a really nice place once you got there. And what am I looking forward to? So I think Pittsburgh in general, I'm looking forward to. I think they have a whole dedication to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to DrupalCon in general, just again reconnecting with folks. Really, like I said at the outset, it's a social event. DrupalCon to me is almost like, when you come back, it's like a summer camp reunion, like people who haven't seen each other in a long time, but everyone knows each other. So it's a really great occasion and very welcoming as well to folks who are new. We always like to bring new people into the fold. So what I thought I would do next is kind of go around and since each of you are speaking at DrupalCon, maybe have you talk a little bit about the different sessions that you'll be doing, what your session is about, and why you chose this topic, why you think it's important. And so I thought I would do it in sort of the order in which these sessions will be presented at DrupalCon, which means that actually, Travis, the session that you and Corey, who unfortunately isn't here, are doing would be first up. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. All right. So as George mentioned, I'm one of two. My lovely counterpart, Corey Neslin, is in Italy right now, but she is the brains and the beauty of this whole thing. I just carry the cue cards. No, we came up with this awesome session together. Playing as a team, strategies for better communication. So not terribly technical as a topic, but still very, very important. So we decided to bring this session to life because working in a flat self-organizing structure full of brilliant developers, we do notice that communication sometimes gets pushed to the back for some. And we wanted to offer tools to promote ways to get unblocked and ways to promote psychological safety. So that's essentially what this talk is going to be about. Tools that we're going to use are, defining what psychological safety is, how can we adopt a leader mindset? And leader is essentially a tool that was kind of conceived by L. David Marquette in the book Turn the Ship Around, which if you haven't read it, read it. It's absolutely phenomenal. It challenges kind of like a hierarchical structure of workflow and then adapting like a more collaborative workflow and leader. We're going to be talking about nonviolent communication, and then concepts from the book Radical Candor, which is essentially how to provide safe but effective feedback. So a lot of interesting topics. We're gonna have a lot of fun. There might be music, we'll see. But we'll see. But yeah, I'm very, very, very excited.
That sounds like a really fun session. And yeah, I'm so glad that, you're talking about like the ways that people work with each other, the way we interact, and, and how we can all learn how to communicate better and be more open with each other. So that sounds like a really fantastic session. And so that one will be on Monday of DrupalCon. And so I believe it's at 9 in the morning. So if you're looking for something to kind of kick off your DrupalCon with, definitely check out Playing as a Team, Strategies for Better Communication. All right, so next up, we have Tiffany, you're going to be on a panel on how to make big things happen in Drupal. What's that going to be about?
I think it's going to be fun. It'll be, I'm on the panel with Gabor Koichi, who is serving as the moderator. So Gabor was the D6 release manager, and he's been a core committer since 2007. But his kind of current title is the Drupal Core Initiative Coordinator. So he tries, and so his role of late has really been to help things continue to move forward. Mike Herschel, who is at the SBA right now, he's also a DA board member with me, and he was the initiative lead on the Olivero theme. Will be on the panel, as well as Kristen Pohl, who is independent now, but she was a former CTO of a Drupal agency and has been involved in pretty much anything there is to be involved in Drupal. So these are amazing human beings who've contributed a lot. The panel really is going to focus on how to make larger contributions. And this is a I think a particularly important topic as the complexity of Drupal has increased. We, I think, have really good pathways as an open source project for smaller patch level contributions. But I think one of the places where we have the opportunity to grow more is in some of the bigger things that we need done. Drupal's, Dries likes to talk about Drupal as being for ambitious experiences, but the project itself is ambitious and there's always big things we want to do. So, we're each going to bring our perspective on how we have organizationally helped support, really big things. Palantir has done it a couple of times now, most recently with the Drupal Rector as part of the upgrade. And then we also wrote Workbench. So we'll just talk about the strategies that we use. I think Drupal has, well and truly for many years now been a professionalized project. So we're, well past those hobbyist enthusiast days where people would, just volunteer to code into the night. So we need to really establish more sustainable patterns for how we have big contributions happen. And this is a great panel for those who want to see their companies or organizations do more big contributions, kind of knowing the ins and outs so that you can learn from our experiences of what doesn't work or, what we might not have thought about. And, how to really, if you're a company, how to engage with the Drupal community in a really productive way. So that's Monday at, I think, 4:10, something like that. But I am also on a panel. I'm going to just plug it briefly. It's on Tuesday. There will be the Drupal Association will be meeting in public again. So if you want to come and chat with the board, that'll be around lunchtime, like 11:30 in the ballroom.
Very exciting. I really love that you're taking that focus of, really helping give organizations or even people at organizations, right, the tools to help be contributors to Drupal, because you're absolutely right. I mean, it is very difficult to kind of, just as a single person, I think, really be able to make a ongoing and sustainable contribution to a major project. But if we can work together and maybe get more organizations on board, I think that's key to the innovation of the platform. So thank you. And yeah, the Drupal Association panel as well. That's always a fun place to kind of get to meet the folks who kind of oversee the care of the project, right? And
we keep the lights on.
That's right. Yeah. But but you help put on DrupalCon, right? So that's important, and maintain Drupal.org and all of the infrastructure that keeps the project and community going. So thank you. So moving on, our next session is on Tuesday morning, and Britany, that's your session. Authenticity is contagious. Actually, it's on Tuesday afternoon. I apologize. You want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it's Authenticity is Contagious. Being real and showing emotion builds long-lasting client relationships. So this is not at all technical. It's more so about the soft skills needed to bring longevity to our client relationships. So this came out of a couple of experiences I had here, kind of retroing situations that happened during client calls. And one that comes to mind in particular was essentially at the very beginning of the project. The client said in passing something that we knew was going to majorly impact the way the team was able to carry out work. And then we essentially went on to see exactly that thing happened. So they had a decrease in how much time they could resource to the project. We needed them to resource all the time that we had agreed upon. We knew it was going to have a major impact, and it did. And so in listening to the retro, one of the questions I asked was like, well, when they said that, how soon did we know that that was going to be an issue? I was like, oh, right away. And I said, oh, great. So how did we relay that to the client? And we didn't. And so it was one of these things was, well, how could we have indicated in words and with a strategic emotional response, to indicate to the client and give them true pause. Oh, this is something that we need to think about. And so I've had several conversations, like situations like that. So it's, how can we, instead of doing that thing that we've all been taught to do, where we keep stoic and pretend like everything's going to be okay no matter what? How do we flip that and say, actually, this thing is not going to be okay no matter what? And how can we show that and let that show to our client in a way that gives them pause and makes it for the better of our engagement together? So not only is it about allowing ourselves to show emotion, allowing ourselves to be real people in these engagements, but how is that for the better of our team, the better of ourselves, and the way that we show up in those relationships and those engagements? And then just also, and I know we're going to talk about this, but using emotion as a tool. And sometimes that sounds a bit manipulative. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying an emotional response should not be inappropriate. That's not what we're saying. But how can we use it as a tool strategically to indicate when something is alarming? And it's something that we want to tackle together. So I don't want to babble forever, but it's a topic that I'm truly interested in. I think it's very much a new way of thinking when we're talking about the way that we show up in professional business settings. And I think it's something that we're going to see more and more of. So we're going to talk about how to do that, when it's safe to try, to show that with clients, what do those situations look like, how to identify them. And we'll just talk about the benefits of bringing that parts of ourselves to work every day. So I'm looking forward to it. Come see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Britany. Yeah, I mean, I think that it is absolutely key, right? Because I think there's very often a tendency for client relationships to be viewed as transactional, right? And they're not. It's a real relationship that you have with your client, and it's a partnership, really. And with any partnership, people have to be able to be real with each other, right? And so I really appreciate you bringing that and helping others understand how they can, as you say, bring their full selves to their work. Thank you. All right. So now the next one is another panel we have. And so Joe, I think you're going to kind of kick off this one. This is our panel, In for the Long Haul, Supporting and Growing Living Sites in the Post-Drupal 8 Landscape. You want to tell us a little bit more about what that is about?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let Jill and Ju chime in as they would like to. So I work on the continuous delivery portfolio team, which is a lot of big words, but basically we continue to work with our clients that we've worked with to either build a new site, or occasionally clients that we have brought in from elsewhere that have an existing Drupal site. Really, the importance of this of our department and this talk is really all around the life cycle of Drupal sites post Drupal 8. So when Drupal 8 came out, it's really no longer a requirement that you're going to rebuild your site from the ground up when the next major Drupal version comes out, which is fantastic. But I know Palantir was really forward thinking in setting up a team of people that are going to continue to manage sites into the future, because with the longevity of a site, there's a lot of opportunity for features and enhancements. There's a lot of opportunity to actually get real data and look at your ROI and see where you can improve things. And then there's also some problems that arise with maintaining sites as libraries get deprecated through multiple versions of PHP, through multiple version changes of Drupal. So yeah, our talk is really how we approach all of that and how we work together as a team to think strategically and to make incremental improvements for maintaining healthy websites.
And I can jump in just to give a little bit of perspective around what my lens will be on the panel. So I'm a strategist by trade. I don't have an engineering background. And I was really excited to bring that lens to the continuous delivery practice when I joined the team last year. I'd spent a lot of my career working on what we would call solution delivery projects, which are, end-to-end redesigns or replatforming projects. So this is new territory for me. And in this panel, I'll be talking about really how we help clients see the value in longer range planning, as Joe mentioned, sort of from a strategic perspective, and planning for their sites based on business goals, content needs, SEO, looming integrations, and not just thinking about site maintenance as reactive or short-term fixes. So I think this is something that we've done uniquely, and it's really yielded a lot of amazing creative conversations with our clients about how they think about their site maintenance. I'm doing air quotes, you can't see me. So specifically, what I'm hoping to share is just the fact that a live site has to provide ROI, however an organization defines it. And so much concentrated energy and focus and investment usually happens during a full-on redesign or rebuild. There's just a lot of momentum and team collaboration, but your site doesn't really do anything for your organization until it's out in the wild. So, our team really feels like the action happens once you're kind of managing it ongoing. And with the need for back to front rebuilds decreasing with this kind of new landscape, how do we keep that energy going around site improvement when the site isn't really like brand new and shiny? How do we keep that exciting? So we'll be sharing some success stories around how we've started to catalyze more strategic and longer range planning conversations with our clients, and maybe some times when that's not gone so well, and how we've pivoted or iterated on those conversations. And also, which I think Joe will be talking about in a second, and Joe already mentioned, how our team operates and how that's been a mind shift for our team in addition to our clients, and how we are making continuous delivery fun again. So, Jewel, I'll hand it over to you to talk about your perspective.
Well, I think sometimes support, ongoing support gets a bad rap because people think, oh, well, the team just does bug fixes or boring upgrade work, or and I guess that can be true, but with our mindset shift into future strategy, I feel like we've brought on a lot of fun and exciting opportunities for our team members that's outside of maybe what normal support teams might address, and we spend a lot of time building trust and a fun environment for our team members and also with our clients. So those relationships really give our team a lot of energy and lots of learning opportunities and growth opportunities for everybody. And we'll be addressing some of our tips on how we do that.
Thank you so much. I really love the approach that our continuous delivery portfolio team takes to, again, managing that ongoing strategic relationship with folks after their sites have launched, right? And I think it's a really great point about how, this is not just about bug fixes or security updates. This is a journey, and this is something that is going to be ongoing as the needs of your organization change, right? So are the needs of your site, and so I really appreciate how this team works as a partner for those folks. So thank you. The next session actually is going to be the one I'm presenting. So I will be speaking at the Community Summit. The summits at DrupalCon this year are on Thursday, which is a little bit of a shift. They've changed the schedule format around a little bit, but so I will be, after the introductions, kind of kicking things off to present a little session on how we updated the Drupal Code of Conduct. And so this is a project that I've been working on along with a group of other folks from the community, from the community working groups, community health team. And it's really taking Drupal was one of the first open source projects to adopt a code of conduct way back in 2010. And so I spent a number of years serving on the committee that helped enforce and uphold that code of conduct and do conflict resolution between community members, and experienced a lot during that time. I was on for I think about 6 or 7 years, and really kind of understanding the places where our code of conduct worked well for our community and where some of the gaps were. And since 2010, there's been a lot of evolution in open source codes of conduct. There's been, pretty much every project now has a code of conduct, and a lot of them include elements that just nobody had quite yet thought of or thought to include back in 2010. And so last year, we started on a process to kind of overhaul and update Drupal's code of conduct. And so I'll be talking about how we went through that process, how we incorporated feedback, historical feedback from the community. We looked at different other open source project codes of conduct, and then we reached out to different community stakeholders to get their feedback and input. And before we basically took all of that and shared with the community at large. And so where things are at as of this moment that we're recording is that we expect to be announcing the new code of conduct in the next week or so. So before DrupalCon, so everyone will have a chance to see the new language and the new text, anticipating that the code of conduct will probably not officially take effect until a few weeks after DrupalCon. So folks will have time to absorb and ask questions, and I'll be there at DrupalCon to answer them. So looking forward to that. It's been a big project. I personally learned a lot along the way. One of the big lessons was really, making sure that you have a diversity of voices in the input process. Find things that I don't think I would have thought of on my own, or even just the group of folks in our committee would have really discovered had we not reached out to people across our global community. So I'm excited about that. And then finally, Ken, we have you're going to be presenting a case study session at the Government Summit, which is also on Thursday. So the title is Developing a Testing Strategy for the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Yeah, and thank you. This is a fascinating session that actually ties in a lot to the CDP session that we were talking about, which is, hey, Wisconsin is a legacy project. So it's a Drupal 7 project that's been shifted to Drupal 9 and then is going to move to Drupal 10. And the question becomes, how do you take such a big site? It's quite large and quite complicated because of the version shift, and make sure it's got adequate testing for long-term maintenance. The trick there, and what we'll be talking through, are the sort of decisions you have to make and the priorities you have to set, because it's very common for people to say, well, we'd love to test everything. And that's great, and that might take you 3 to 4 months to implement. And so how do you start gradually introducing testing in a way that's sustainable? And so we'll talk about how we break down those questions. We'll talk about the different types of tests you might write. We'll talk about the things that are most important to test. So the difference between saying like an access control test versus a content creation test, and why those things are important and why they matter. So it's one of those sessions that sounds technical, but really isn't. It's going to be targeted towards project managers and product owners, the kind of people who have to make resourcing decisions about how their sites get built and maintained.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. I mean, and I think, this is particularly important as being part of the Government Summit, right? In that, particularly public sector web platforms are ones that have a really long lifespan. And so that kind of very strategic, long-term, proactive planning is absolutely key to their ongoing success. And so definitely looking forward to that one as well. So thank you all for sharing information about the sessions you're going to be presenting. I think we've got a really great lineup, and again, as I was listening to everyone, I was kind of hearing this kind of common theme, right, about how to ensure kind of long-term sustainable success, right, with projects. And again, going back to this idea that, like, it's not just a one-off project when you're building a new website or launching a new platform. It really is a journey, and really making sure that we're thinking about the entire lifespan of that journey as we approach it. So with that, I actually want to switch gears a little bit. Like, what other things, events that might be going on at DrupalCon, or other sessions that you might have seen, are you looking forward to? Ken, you go ahead.
Yeah. Again, I'm running behind, so I haven't even looked at the schedule yet. But for people like Travis and even Jill, who are going to their first event, the thing that I always stress is there are a lot of sessions. There's a lot of things going on, and I always encourage people to go to sessions that are outside their current discipline. I'm primarily a developer these days. I like to go to design sessions. I like to go to project management sessions because it gets me exposure to things that I wouldn't normally think about. And most of the technical stuff I can pick up on my own, and just part of the normal work that we do. So I think it's really interesting and really important to be able to do that. So having that exposure and having the different perspectives can really be beneficial. I'll even drop into a marketing session once in a while to see what they're saying and what their concerns are, because I think, Britany, you talked about it earlier. It helps with empathy and understanding what clients are asking for, understanding what end users need when you're writing code. So that's my pitch. Is go. And then one other thing I will say, since I've been to so many of these things, which is, especially if you're speaking for the first time, everyone wants you to be successful. Everyone who's coming to this event is coming to collaborate and to share. So you don't have to worry so much about, like, who am I going to meet? How am I going to meet people? It will happen. And it's real easy to just walk up to people and say, hey, I'm new. What do I need to know today? And that's a really good conversation starter.
Tiffany, what tips do you have?
So I think one of the most important and favorite parts of any DrupalCon for me have always been the hallway track. So, all the DrupalCon sessions are recorded and they are put up extremely quickly. So even if there's a session that you were just dying to see, but you're in the middle of a really deep conversation with someone about the other thing, prioritize that conversation. Prioritize the fact that this is that face-to-face time you have with the rest of the community. I think one of the challenges that faces many open source communities, but especially Drupal, is that we are such a global community, and not everyone has English as their first language. Communication is hard in general. So if you can actually talk with people face to face, it just has such a lasting impact. It's a little bit easier. And there are just tons of people there who make the work that we do every day possible. So I also really like the gratitude culture of Drupal. So, definitely use DrupalCon as that opportunity to grab a beverage of choice or a meal with someone whose work, you've appreciated. Just say thank you and make that personal connection, because all of Drupal is built by people, and they're, we're all pretty nice. So those are the things I would say is definitely, prioritize people over sessions.
Well said, Tiffany. What other things are folks looking forward to, or tips do people have for first-time attendees? I mean, I know one that I am thinking of very much is don't. This is going to sound kind of cheesy, but don't skip the exhibit hall. There's a lot of great networking and great conversations and great people to meet at the different booths. There's some good swag as well. So, if you're looking for something maybe to bring home for a family member or something, there will always be something really cool to find. And it's also another kind of really great place to just have those conversations. It's not just the place you kind of breeze through on the way to lunch or coffee. It's a good place as well to hang out. And we're going to have a really great booth at DrupalCon. I'm really excited about it. We're going to have kind of some chairs, make it kind of a social area where people can come and hang out and chat. And, as far as our swag, I'm not going to say too much, but I am totes excited about what we are going to be giving away at our booth, if that's enough of a clue. So, yeah, that's my tip. Jill, did you have any tips or things you're looking forward to?
I don't have tips because I've not been to DrupalCon, but I've been to many a conference in my day. And I think the thing I'm looking forward to the most, especially given how long it's been since, a lot of us have attended conferences or opportunities to network, is the sort of the stories of, hey, I did that too, or I struggled with that too, and here is how I solved it. I'm such an example person that I just soak up all of the, common challenges that a lot of us have and the creative solutions of how people have addressed them. Also just to feel not alone with, oh my gosh, we've been banging our heads against the wall on this particular problem for a while now, and actually everybody else is too. So super excited to hear the stories. You get a little bit in your bubble when you're working with your colleagues and your clients on a daily basis. And it's definitely hard to proactively go out and find those kinds of stories and case studies and examples just on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like this is just, it will be coming to me. I don't have to go out and seek it. So looking forward to those stories.
So many stories come out of DrupalCon, and being able to kind of not just have those there and share stories with each other, but the stories that we share afterward as well. So yeah, that's really good advice. So thank you all for sharing all your insights today. I know I'm super excited about DrupalCon Pittsburgh. I hope that other folks, if you're planning to attend, please say hi to one of us or stop by our booth. If you're not planning to attend, definitely check out the sessions online once they get posted. And, and we'll also, if you're a subscriber to our newsletter, we'll also be sharing those recordings with folks as well. So you won't miss out. Until next time, that is it for this episode of the Plus Plus podcast. We'll be back in a couple weeks with our next episode. And till then, take care and goodbye.